Hello, Hero Wars players. Today we'll be looking into Kark. Now, the reason I decided to make a video on Kark is because I personally feel he's one of the best heroes in the game, if not the best damage dealer in the game. And I think he has a quite unique skills, and these skills do bring about why he is so good. His skins up until now were just a stellar skin, which is armor penetration and agility. Because what did the managers of Hero Wars say? He'd become too OP if they added in a magic defense. But they added it. And now Kark is becoming great. As you can see, I've just got my Kark on this server. So we'll start leveling him up to my top 5. And my main hero, let's look at his skills. First, Kark has Nexus of Horror. He throws up enemies into the air and brings them down and stuns them. However, if the enemy is higher than the level of himself, this stun may not happen. If it is applied, it will be applied for 2 seconds, which is quite fair. Negator of Loss. Kark opens an interdimensional rift that blocks counter physical attack for 8 seconds. So now all physical attack, depending on how much you've leveled it up, will not come through a lot. So if you have a Kira and she's hitting during the Negator of Loss, then you are most likely to get a lot of that attack reduced. It depends on how high you have leveled this skill up. Deadly Tendrils. Now, Deadly Tendrils is what Kark uses the most. Whenever an enemy is thrown into the air, Kark will hit him with damage. Now, this could come from Nexus of Horror. It could come from, as you see here, Faceless's skill. Power Throw raises the nearest enemy above the ground and then drops them. Now, if the nearest enemy is raised above the ground, Kark will hit him. Now, if the enemy level is equal to or less than the same level as Kark, then he will deal double damage. This is very good, but you've got to make sure that you're at least 130 to really get this effective. Next, Survival Factor. Kark has 5% of health recovered, 5% of damage dealt health recovered every time he hits an enemy in the air. This will keep Kark alive much longer than normal. Okay. Now what I would say for his skins is, first level up armor penetration, because he will need it to be a damage dealer. Next level up magic defense, then level up agility. Once you've got armor penetration to a fair amount, then you can get onto magic defense. Don't get onto magic defense before you have his armor penetration to a fair amount. Glyphs, again, I would say, as you can see I'm leveling up health first because Kark doesn't have a lot of it. So I'm leveling up health, armor penetration, armor, then I'll level up physical attack, then agility last. I don't think Kark needs agility. For his artifacts, for your top 5 heroes, you want to spend a lot on their artifacts, but not anything below your top 5 heroes. So because I just got Kark, I'm spending a lot of him on his artifacts. I'm going to try and start now. And as you can see, I'm 1 item away from Kark plus 2. Okay, now let's look at an overview of Kark. For me, I would say, okay, let's not look at this because this is the heroes that I haven't got. Now, if you haven't got these heroes, and you might only not have these heroes to build a Kark team, look at this. Pause the video, please. For going against Kark, I would say use a Arachne. Arachne provides a lot of useful stuns. She'll stun Kark, so he won't be as effective most of the time. And against Kira, Lian, because Lian will keep on charming her. And Yugon will just overall be effective when the enemy doesn't have a very strong back line, as he will. Now let's look at what are the different teams, Kark teams, you need to counter every other team. Most fights, I would say use an Astaroth, Nebula, Faceless, Martha. Now, why would I say this? Because an Astaroth Kark is already a very good base, because Astaroth will revive Kark once he dies. Faceless will throw the enemy into the air, which Kark will get healed from it. Martha, if Firelight lasts long, will do a good amount of healing. And Nebula is just constantly boosting Kark and Faceless. Now, boosting Kark will do output damage of insanely good output damage. Now, that's for most fights. Next, for heavy damage output ultimates, such as tanks, I would say use Jorgen. Now, if you don't get what I mean someone such as Galahad, he's constantly attacking your team, but he is a tank. Someone like Dante, he will constantly be attacking your team from his ultimate. That is why you need Jorgen to slow those heroes down. But it's exactly the same. So you can see our base is Astaroth Kark, Faceless Martha. The Nebula part, the middle hero, we can swap out quite a lot. Next we have, against Twins teams, I would say use both of these. Sebastian, because he does block the watermarks. And Sebastian here and Isaac, because he takes in some of that magic damage. However, what I would say is, if to go with one out of these, with Sebastian, you'd only use him if you have a lot of debuff heroes apply buffs on your server. If you don't, then I wouldn't say go for Sebastian. You can check out my video of buffs. If you just click out of this video, go into my channel, and it should be there. Third video. Then we have Isaac. I would only use him if you have a lot of magic attacking team. If you have a lot of other Kark teams on your server, don't use Isaac. He won't help. Next, the same again. But this time we have a Nebula Martha. And then Celeste. Nebula's pushed back that position. Why is that? Because now, on defense, there might be a lot of hits, but you need a lot of healing for that. So Astaroth will be constantly taking in the damage. Kark will constantly be doing an output. But Celeste, have we looked at her yet? No. Celeste can actually provide a very good single target damage. Now, a Nebula boosted Celeste does even more damage and even more healing. A Martha boosted Nebula does even more healing, support. So this is, I think, and has been proven, the best team on defense. Now, just a shout out, I got this from 3v1, thanks to him. Next we have Kark, Kai, Sebastian, Jorgen, Faceless against twin teams. This also works very good against twin teams, just like these two do. But this works better because the twins team do an area of effect damage, not single target tank damage. But it also depends on who your twins team is. If you have someone like Dante up front, maybe not as such. But this also works very well because twin teams do an area of effect damage, and Kark can keep on gaining his ultimate, which helps him do more damage. And Kai will just help him even more. Sebastian will block watermarks. He will go and stop any other heroes on that team. And Faceless throwing the enemies into the air. See, we haven't really got off healer here because we don't need it because of the raw damage output. Okay, next team. Astaroth Kark, Faceless, or Orion, Helios, Martha. Use this team against Yasmin. Now, Yasmin is becoming very popular. So, Helios will counter Yasmin. Pure counter to Yasmin. But Helios can't do damage without someone who provides penetration, magic penetration. So, in this instance, Orion does. Now, Orion provides magic penetration, so I would say at an Astaroth Kark, Orion, Helios, Martha. This has a much better chance of winning because of how it has quite a lot of damage dealers and quite a lot of magic attack. And this magic attack with physical attack actually does work quite well. It has been proven to work very well because not many teams can so Isaac can counter just magic, but he can't counter physical, which Kark deals. So this will counter. Okay, so Astaroth Kark, Arachne, or Andvari, Faceless, Martha. Now, why do I say this? Well, as we just saw, Arachne provides amazing stuns. So here, Arachne provides amazing stuns Her stuns will slow down Kark. Or you could use Andvari because it protects Kark from displacement, which other Kark teams need. Now, if you have this, you probably will win the fight, but you might not again, because Andvari might stop displacement on the other team and your Kark won't be able to use his ultimate. It is very dependent on who ults first, but Andvari will work mostly against other Karks, and if the other Kark teams aren't as strong, maybe they're using Kark in first position, Arachne could work. Next, a different one. Astaroth, Kark, Faceless, Lian, Marfa. So we've pushed Faceless forward, added Lian in. Why Lian? Because against Kira teams, she hits every single enemy if they are a lower level than her. This has to be essential, and Lian could work even if Kira is a higher level, or lower level than your team, but Lian will provide charm. Now if Kira is charmed, she won't be able to hit as quickly, which then lets your heroes gain energy faster, and will be able to hit in time for Kira not to be able to kill them all if she gets to that point. Next, as you can see, I've highlighted it. Against Kira Blender, we have an Astaroth, Kark, Nebula, Faceless, Helios. So Marfa has been substituted for Helios. Now Helios will do better against Kira Blender for many reasons, but I'm not going to go into that too much now. But just substituting Marfa, because Helios will do a bit more of an output magic damage, this does work better against Kira Blender teams. So just like this, you could use any of these, I think. But against Kira Blender, use this team. If you're not going up against Kira Blender, maybe that team if there's a lot of Kira teams on your server. If there's only one out of the 50, no point wasting your time. Next we have Astaroth, Kark, Zhu, Faceless, or Nebula, Marfa. So against some bosses, this works very well. Now against Seymour, for instance, take out the Nebula. We just use Astaroth, Kark, Zhu, Faceless, Marfa. However, timing is essential, because if you don't have the right timing, then one hero on your team could die, and that messes up your other heroes. And the reason Zhu is because once he activates his ult, he can't die, and he'll provide attack. So this will work because if he can't die, then Astaroth isn't really reviving anyone else. But if any other heroes on your team die, like maybe Kark here dies, or Marfa dies, or Faceless, Astaroth can revive them, and Zhu won't need to be revived because he's already activated his ult and he can't die. Okay. Let's look into the next team. This will be the last team, don't worry. I'm just trying to help you along with your Kark journey. Astaroth, QM, Zhu, Phobos, Faceless, Marfa. Against some other bosses, I would say use this team. Jingmao will hit the frontline hero quite a lot of times with her ultimate. Zhu can't die again. Phobos will paralyze the enemy, and he will keep on taking life out of the enemy. Faceless, or you could use Faceless instead of Phobos, and Marfa will just constantly provide the speed boost. So this will help against many teams, and Marfa is essential, nearly essential for a Kark team. Next we have order to level up heroes that you might not have. We have Astaroth first, I would say, because you always need to get your tank to the highest level because they can't die first. You don't want them to die first. Then Kark. You could get Kark above Astaroth, it just depends. Then we need Marfa because of her speed, and she is one of the mainline heroes there. Faceless next. Nebula and Yulgon, because Nebula and Yulgon will be the most used heroes in that Kark team. The second most used. Then Andvari for other Kark teams if you have a lot on your server. If you don't, I would say go with Zhu for bosses. Sebastian if there's a lot of buff heroes versing you on your server. Then Celeste for defense, just get her no matter what. Lian, you don't need as much if there's not a lot of Kira teams. Kai again, Twins teams use her. Kira. Okay, but finally I would like to say thank you everyone for coming to view my videos. It takes a lot of time and effort to edit these videos, particularly 4 hours, and I really feel great when I have these supporters behind my back. I know they're subscribing to me. I know they're viewing my videos, they're liking. And I really want to keep on making the videos when I feel that I'm helping others. So please, if you have a video topic that you want me to talk about, just drop it in the comments in my YouTube channel, DM me on Discord, and my website is, of course, any other means that you can. Get hold of me and just tell me what video you want me to make. And if I think that's a good topic, I'll cover it. Mostly I will, don't worry.